I'll call you later, Grandpa. I just tell him I'm
I just see.
I'll be back at 8 o'clock.
Are we ready? Yes. We stand and say this a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ford.
Here.
Barrett.
Here.
Wilkers.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Emery.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Tuttle.
Here.
Approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda for the April 22nd, 2025 Planning Commission meeting.
Have a second, please.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approval of the minutes of March 2025.
I'll move to approve the minutes of March 25, 2025 of the Kimball Township Planning Commission meeting.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
I have a motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Special hearing of the master plan 2025 and comments. This meeting will be held open 30 minutes.
Do you want us to do a motion?
I gotta have a motion, yeah,
Okay.
but I wanna,
Go ahead.
I just wanna let everybody know it's only gonna be 30 minutes. So I need a motion to open.
I'll make the motion to open the meeting at 6:31 for the master plan open meeting.
Have a second, please.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Okay, I'm gonna ask Donald, if he, Mr. Donaldson, if he would explain what happened, and if he would, please.
Absolutely. Sorry if I go up there.
Sure.
Well, good evening, and thank you for having me here this evening. Jeff Donaldson, St. Clair County Metropolitan Planning Commission, and got a couple slides ready to go here to do a kind of walk through the process. Of course, technology. There we go. And to walk through the process that was followed to get us to this point, to get the township to this point where you're at with the master plan. So, just like I mentioned, just a few slides. First, I'm going to talk about a timeline. I'm going to talk about a little the timeline involved in development of the plan. I'm going to talk about what's in the plan, what's new in the plan, and then what the next steps are. So thank you if you don't mind advancing. So just to refresh everybody's memories, because it's been a long time. There's been some stops and starts with this process, if you will. There was some changeover within our organization. And we apologize that you had to work with so many different individuals, but I trust that you we always had senior planning had its hands on it. So that being said, just as a refresher, back in 2022, the township board first started discussions of updating the master plan, and they talked about issuing an RFP for assistance. You didn't, from what I understand, get a lot of responses, if any, to that RFP for assistance in developing the master plan. So you reached out to the county's planning department, the Metropolitan Planning Commission, in December, and between that point and the January County Board of Commissioners meetings, a contract was worked out, an agreement was put together, and the County Board of Commissioners authorized the Metropolitan Planning Commission to enter into agreement with Kimball Township to begin work on the master plan. So that being said, the staff met with this planning commission and over a period of time talked about having various public hearings. There was some stakeholder surveys that were issued throughout the community, and also the Metropolitan Planning Commission staff facilitated a visioning workshop during that process as well. That happened in the summer of '23. by fall of '24, you had seen a couple versions of drafts of the master plan, and it was at that point that this planning commission was comfortable with the final draft that you see before you today, where action was taken to move forward and recommended moving that to the township board for authorization for release for a 63-day public review period. That's a statutory requirement and approval of master plans in Michigan. So anytime a master plan has to get approved, it has to go through a statutory, various steps are identified in the Michigan statute. It's the Michigan Planning Enabling Act. And that 63-day period started middle of February and ended a few days back, and per the statute, and I can't recall the exact amount of days, but I think it was 11 or 15 days after the end of that public review period is when a public hearing can occur on said draft plan. So that is what brings us here today. So if you don't mind advancing to the next step. So what's new in the master plan? Your previous plan, which was several years old, you can see on the left-hand side, that was the layout of the plan, started with an introduction, fairly straightforward, ended with implementation recommendations. The same sort of layout, if you will, with this draft of the plan. Starts with an introduction, and you go through and ends with implementation. There's a few changes to it, of course, and I'll get into a little bit of the details of what those changes are in the next couple slides, but you've got the future land use plan that we addressed. And we also added a zoning plan because the statute, Michigan Planning Enabling Act, says that a zoning plan should be part of a master plan. So, thank you. So, as you may recall, and members of the audience who've been here for any of the planning commission meetings where the master plan's been discussed, there was a future land use map that was discussed at several of the meetings. And one of the changes that has occurred on a future land use map since it went out for public review, and it's based on feedback from various stakeholders, information that was actually compiled throughout the process, and some of it was missed in the draft of the plan that we put out for public review, so that's what we're covering this evening. But there was a bit of a change to what's called the development focus area, and that is, and everybody's got a copy of it in front of your desk. And for the members of the audience, it's up on the screen. This is what went out for public review on this side of the map here on the left-hand side. And if you look on the right-hand side, get that right? Yep. Right on the right-hand side. And then if you go over to the left-hand side, this is what is being proposed to be included in the final draft plan. And the difference is the development focus area was to incorporate all the land that is currently held by the drain commissioner, which goes up to the northern edge of the property where Golf Country's driving range currently operates. And when we were looking at the map, we realized it didn't quite go down that far. So we extended it down a little further. And then in addition to that, the owner of those parcels there that makes up Golf Country also owns that land to the west of Golf Country that fronts on Smith's Creek, and then also across the street is the airport. They own that land as well, so it was through various notes and whatnot, we realized that there had been discussions that land could be put up for development because it's had been assembled over a period of time into some large parcels, not individual smaller parcels. And when you're talking about larger parcels of land, unless you're talking about pure agriculture, usually it's to have some sort of development focus. So that's why it was proposed to be added to the development focus area that you have seen before you today. And it also would tie in that other area with a frontage on another road being Smith's Creek, not just on Ravenswood. So that being, yeah, if you don't mind, motion forward. So this is the language of what the development focus area is in the master plan. I won't go through it all word for word per se, but it talks about the boundaries of it, and it talks about the types of uses that could be considered in a development focus area. Now keep in mind, this is the master plan, and the master plan lays out the vision for the community. The zoning ordinance is what you use to implement the master plan. So if you read the language here in the development focus area, especially if you skip down to the second bullet, it says the area that makes up the development focus area, it includes, and it gives the boundaries of it, But if you go to the end of that, it talks about a way to implement the visions and the types of uses that are identified as possible uses within a development focus area. It's recommending one way of doing that is through the planned unit development zoning mechanism. An analysis of the township zoning ordinance, which we were not tasked with updating, but we did take a look at. We realized there is no provisions in there for planned unit development. So one of the recommendations of the master plan is that once you complete this process, then you open up your zoning ordinance and you include a planned unit development provision mechanism within your zoning ordinance. And that could be a way in which you would implement the development focus area within the community. Some additional comments about the development focus area. It says that it should be proactive in ensuring that the overall development scheme includes typical things you want to see in new development, and recommended as best practices nowadays, like green infrastructure that would limit impacts on natural systems, walkability, non-motorized trails, because we're talking about a larger area, and then connectivity to other areas through various mobility types of things, typically trails, like it's referenced there. So, and I can jump to the end of this and talk about what's next, but if anybody has any questions about the development focus area, because there's a slight change to the map that was presented and talked about throughout the development of this process, and what you have before you today. At this point, I'd be recommending, based on all the feedback we've had with various stakeholders and leaders within the community and within the township, and information that was brought forth during all the outreach, that extension be included on that development focus area.
Would there be any objection to be transparent in requesting those two property owners to make that formal comment and submit it for the record? Because I do not recall Mr. Wiley being here and making that request. I don't recall, Jowet's being.
Jowett has to.
Right, that I'm under the assumption these communications have occurred with staff and not in the public, not in the public forum. And there was no comments provided to us, written comments put in our packet. So I do understand that this is the comment period. I don't foresee them objecting to that, but I would prefer it as a board member to see that in writing from those individuals, because I have not.
Well, if you're asking if that would be procedurally, if that would be appropriate, certainly. I mean, it's up to the whims of the entire board what you would like to do. And that being said, if everybody was in agreement with everything that was presented to you this evening, you would be in a place based on following all the steps. You could actually take action on the plan this evening. But that being said, it occurred to me in a little bit of a mix-up. I did not show up with any sort of draft resolution for you guys to consider. And the statute does say the planning commission should adopt the plan by resolution. So you're gonna have to take one more bite out of this apple anyways. So if that's a roundabout way of saying I think so, yes.
Okay.
That's not a bad statement to.
I recall Mr. Wiley being here years ago
Yes.
in regards to this request.
Trying to get a commercial.
Well, billboards. So that's why I don't foresee them. And I remember Mr. Jowett's been before us many times for that property too.
But the attorney did say you could make it, approve it subject to those revisions. He did, and you read that.
Yep, I understand.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other, you want to keep going there, Mr. Donaldson?
I don't think that's the end of my slides. Yeah, so I have nothing in addition to add. I promised I would keep it short this evening because you've heard enough from me over the past year. So, but I mean, to answer Mr. Barrett's question, just the sheer fact that you don't have a resolution in front of you this evening means you can't take final action. I think you can make sort of a conditional recommendation that pending presentation of a resolution that could be adopted at a further time, we are, we're not sending it back for further revisions at this time or something like that. It's kind of getting ready to close the book on this process, if you will. That's up to you, or you can just leave that all to the next meeting.
I have one question. Griswold and Diddy Road. There's a corner that's commercial, and that doesn't show up on this map. It's
Griswold and,
Diddy Road,
On the new map or the old?
either one.
But that is future though, Mr. Orr. It's currently commercial, correct?
It
And
but
this
there's
is
no-
future, this is the future
Yeah.
land map. So doesn't that reflect it as, I don't know what the lime green, is that
It's,
residential?
It's a single-family residence.
Right.
I'm sorry, what was the, I heard Griswold, what was the?
And Diddy?
I'm sorry?
Griswold and Diddy Road.
Northeast corner, correct, Mr. Orr?
Right
Correct.
under the word Griswold. It's right, goes right through the word Griswold Road.
Yeah. where the-
Oh, I see there, yes, thank you. I was just looking at trends along the area. I mean, the closest commercial, there's a slight note of it to the east on Griswold, if you can see.
That used to be a deer process at Hyde.
So,
But the one on the corner was a gas station.
What's the gas?
Mhm.
so to Mr. Barrett's point, this is the future land use map. It's not the
Yeah.
existing land use map. And so I guess the question is, was it, and I'm gonna punt on this a little bit because I had a lot of say in getting you guys to a certain point on this, but also a lot of this was done and handed off to me by some previous planners. So I'm not sure if there was discussions about that area and why that was potentially left out, and if it was a shared wish of the community to transition that area to that lime green land use, which is, I think it's single family.
Right.
I don't
And
see it going
that would make that commercial a non-conforming type of use.
I don't see it going back to commercial.
No.
It's not wide enough, first of all.
No.
So it could continue as long as it stayed as it is, but and it depends on the zoning too. So the zoning would be, if it has a existing zoning of commercial, then it's
Right.
okay. And even if, gotta be careful, I'm not an attorney here, but I'm fairly sure that even if they had one of these situations, like if they had a fire or something like that, it would not preclude them from rebuilding their commercial use, as long as they have that commercial rezoning. It's when you lose your zoning designation that it's very tough to,
Well, a
that can
couple
affect
of-
financing issues and all those kind of things. But the master plan, keep in mind, this is a vision for the future. So the township is saying that at some point, if somebody came along and bought that property and wanted to turn it into a house, the master plan is supportive of it.
Well, there was two lots that they had to have special exceptions because it was commercial. In order to get it financed, it had to be given a special exception.
So based on what I'm
But it's-
hearing, in that you don't see it anymore, trends of commercial developing in the area and that property being, developed any more intensively in a commercial nature, I would not see a need to have a identification of commercial
Well, I don't have a
vision for
problem.
that area.
I'm good with
Can we
I think
change
we
your
leave
color?
it as it is. Does
Do
it
we-
have a 50-foot setback for commercial?
that. Mr. Orr, are you wanting it to be, it's currently zoned commercial, are you wanting it to today be residential?
Yes, I would like
Oh,
that, because it creates a hassle, and
right, okay.
I'd rather see it all residential.
Mr. Downsell, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the zoning map, that's not the
Yeah,
future
that's-
land use
no,
that he's
that's-
requesting.
no.
That,
So
He's
it's-
requesting a zoning map
Yeah.
change.
I see, yes, yeah, that's what it sounds like, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
so-
Yep, so if you wanna see it all become residential, then this is speaking towards that. This is
Yeah,
saying,
got
yep,
it.
we think that's what it should be, and if you wanna change the master plan, this document is supportive of that. Or, if you wanna change the zoning ordinance, this document is supportive of that.
Okay.
Because remember, your zoning, you should always follow your master plan. So whenever you have a rezoning request come to you, or zoning amendment request come to you, the first thing you should do is look at this map and see if it's consistent with the vision laid out on this map. If it's not, you've gotta be able to make a very good case for why you should do it, because otherwise you're ignoring your vision you lay out here.
Okay.
I do have one follow-up question, just for clarity. Did the township board adopt the resolution saying that they're going to have final say, or is our adoption next month going to be final say?
They have final say.
Okay, so they did follow, okay.
Any other questions?
Based upon your recommendation.
I just wanted to follow up on that question.
I think that's all we have then. We'll just let it go and keep going. I just want comments from the audience if they have any. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none? Then we'll move on and we can close this meeting if you wish.
Do you want to, I'll move to close the public hearing regarding receiving comments for the proposed master plan 2025 for Kimball Township at 6:15.
I have a motion, can I have a second? Well, that was for a public hearing. I just wanted to make sure that, I thought we'd have more people.
I know is there anything in the zoning enabling act that requires us to have the 30 minutes?
No, I've never heard that before.
I haven't
All right,
seen it.
that's
I've
a-
read
So
it.
I think it's,
That's
I
like
think
two
it's,
township attorneys ago.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to state to the audience that there's a time limit you'd like to set on that, because, no, but again, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not saying
Oh,
it's
well.
right, but I think it sounds fair. But nobody's challenging that, so.
thank you, sir. I have a motion.
I will bring back a resolution or get one to staff so you have it for consideration. by
I guess,
next
yeah.
Thank you.
Can we do that in Roman numeral 5? I was just gonna do the motion then. We have it on the agenda, so on Roman numeral 5, I was gonna make the motion then for the resolution and such,
Okay,
if that's okay.
that should be, yeah.
He's just saying that you didn't have the resolution in front of you today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a motion to close the meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll support.
Motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Bill.
I do appreciate you being here. Okay, new business. Atkins Meadows site plan review. Is somebody here to? Could you step up to the podium, please?
My name's Matt Mueller with Bayview Engineering. We were here last month for your preliminary site plan approval. Since that meeting, a few things have happened. There was a meeting at the township on April 2nd to hear options for the extension of the sanitary sewer down Allen Road. Meeting was good. There was some participation from landowners, and I believe that is going forward to the next step as far as a petition possibly being put together. That's about the limited amount of knowledge I have on it, other than it was, the grades worked, and it seemed like there was some participation going to be met. The things that have changed, at least on our site plan that you guys looked and reviewed last month, nothing has changed other than the availability of the proposed sanitary sewer, hopefully. We were supposed to include, for this meeting, prior to this meeting, the master deed for the attorney for the zoning board of appeals, the township engineer to review. And the attorney was not able to get that done in time, if that's correct, Scott? That is correct. So with that, we feel like we met all 8 pieces of criteria on the previous plan, other than the master deed. And we're still hoping to possibly get approval. The master deed, from what I've been told, should be coming by next week for review.
That's in Fletcher's office? Nope, I talked to
today, he said he's gonna email you.
We gotta be getting paid then.
Yeah. And he did state that to me tonight.
So we apologize that we didn't get that in time for this night's meeting, but are open for any questions. Again, the plan did not change at all. The grades will work with the proposed sewer. That project control, your township engineer put together a feasibility study with a pump station and a estimated amount of cost, which seemed very reasonable. So I'm here for any questions or comments.
Is there any questions? Applicant? What's the board's pleasure then?
So you guys are all gonna be connected together with your project?
That's what they're proposing. You would run, I believe, from the very north end, all the way down Penn, from the school, all the way down and hook up at Lapeer.
We have talked to the school, we have talked to the Peters brothers, they're all in favor of connecting.
So there's nothing in our packet tonight in regards to like the normal final letters from the engineer and the fire chief, you know, I'm just saying for standard purposes.
Correct.
You know, what we usually follow. So I guess the question that I have is, what is the approval being? We can give preliminary approval on the condition that we have final approval once all the, you know, everything's sealed up and buttoned and approving with all of those letters in place.
That's entirely up to you. The engineer is here, township engineer. I asked Ed for that letter.
And I'm going to share, you know, a courtesy to the applicant being, is there anything that would preclude you moving forward in the next 30 days to do what you need to do that would require final approval? Because it sounds like you still got to work out the sanitary issues, you know, such.
Correct. We could, I guess, get ahead of the game, if you call it that,
Yeah.
by starting engineering.
Right.
You know, on-site engineering, but the owner's taking a risk that that sewer would not be extended.
Right.
So that's kind of their, but no, it would not.
So I'm just sharing in regards to options being, the option can be postponement with final approval next in the 30 days, or it can be preliminary approval with hopefully final in the next 30 days. You know, does
Sure.
it make a difference?
We're fine with either one of those. I think you should have that master deed in front of you, or at least your attorney
Right.
had the chance to look at it and give you guys a good opinion that it was
Right.
complete.
Right. Primarily, it's got, I know what my topic for a master deed, it's going to be the storm, you know, storm drain and maintenance. You know, that has been a hot topic.
Yeah. Which will be covered.
Right. I would love to
Specifically
see
in
it,
that
'cause-
master
right,
deed.
I haven't seen one yet, so yeah. But that's me,
So I do have the letter. The letter was in your packet for the fire
yeah.
last month. So they are all. It was all compliant.
Okay.
with the fire.
And then are we getting a final letter from PCE?
That's what I don't.
This is a PCE project, correct? Yeah.
We did review the project, we did send a second
Yep.
letter.
Yep.
out.
Yeah.
We did do
Yeah.
And I have that first one, which,
With some items.
Last month?
yep, it was,
I was in Florida.
Yeah, I know.
I have one from last,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the most recent, it was in last month.
Got it.
So you have fire department and
And I
But
also
did-
have the DPW.
Yeah, I knew, yeah.
No, it should be a letter too.
I know, but did we make a motion that,
Yeah, it's 1 through 8 per the ordinance. Page 2.
yeah,
So, what's the pleasure, you wanna
That's
table it until they
We
get
do.
the,
you have them though.
Yeah.
Said, just, you were gonna bring it on the agenda for this, for the final site.
With 1 through
And so did you fix the things once you ate?
There really wasn't anything to fix,
There was nothing,
It's the master
other than
deed.
to provide the
master deed.
master deed,
Yeah.
which
so,
there's a lot of concerns, like you mentioned with maintenance of stormwater, who's taking care of the pond. That all gets covered in the master deed, which is part of that 1 through 8.
and everything else was okay.
It's horrible you don't remember.
Yeah, what are we referencing this as? Atkins Meadow?
Yes.
So I'll move to approve the preliminary plan review regarding Atkins Meadow and request final site plan review to be placed on the May 27th Planning Commission meeting with all final documents.
Thank you.
I have a motion on the floor. Can I have
I'll
a
second that.
Have a second. Have a roll call, please.
All right, Barrett,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Barrett, second.
Tuttle.
Mr. Tuttle?
Tuttle,
Yes.
Orr,
Yes.
Wilkers,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you, sir. SSK, site plan review.
Just for, is this the same as page 5 in the packet?
It looks like it. Just that ours is smaller. Ours is smaller.
Is it? Okay. Page 5.
It's up there now.
Which one?
No, you had
The
it.
first one you have is,
First one?
yeah, right
I
there.
can zoom in, but that's not it.
Okay, well, that works. So I'm,
Left or right, up or down, and I can do it.
Just up a little bit. Go the other way. There.
that's pretty close. So I'm John Monty from Project Control Engineering, representing SSK Development.
SSK, MJ.
So as you know, we started this project some time ago, then we ended up becoming your engineers, so that's the only reason I'm still working on this project. So in the meantime, Tetra Tech is doing the review. We turned this in last month, and in the meantime, John Barber from Tetra Tech did do a review. He sent us a letter. We received that Monday, or what was it, very short Monday, maybe. He came back from vacation. So he had a few comments. We did address all of those comments and sent it back to him. I don't know that you've received anything as yet. In the meantime, he had basically several comments. Some of them were questions. Some of them were comments about screening, whether we were gonna screen, or suggested that we might wanna screen the mini storage. We are doing screening on one side of the mini storage. On the residential side, the commercial sides are fenced. See, I actually do have a list here of the items that we addressed and returned back to him in writing. Considering sidewalks to the 12-unit building, the ends, we do have one 8-foot wide sidewalk approach that's provided at the location that he's requested. Consider rotating one of the dumpster pads in each center aisles unless the plans to have a dumpster truck pull down each dumpster. The item has been addressed. Add additional dumpsters may be required at the east end of Phase 4, as only one is shown for 32 units. That item was also addressed. West dumpster for Phase 4 should not be placed in the 35-foot setback. We moved that back. Previous site plan had a stormwater pump. He's asking what is it now, and it is a gravity outlet now. Same thing, the previous site plan had a sanitary pump station, and we're proposing a gravity outlet at this point. Again, we're dealing with the same thing as Atkins Meadows. Everyone's got together to do a joint sanitary sewer in Allen Road. We did the preliminary plan on it. We did estimate. Everybody seems in favor of putting together a special assessment district and extending the sanitary. So we had some preliminary grades that we could give everyone so they could see if they could get into the sewer. At some point where there'll be a pump station that is necessary in order to extend the sewer all the way to Water Street.
To what street?
Westwater.
Westwater, okay.
I talked about screening of the mini storage area and should consider better access to the mailbox locations. The sidewalk should be provided, in which we also address that. So we've, unfortunately, being that that was turned in at that late period of time, you aren't privy to getting a new letter from your engineer. In the meantime, we received another letter from the fire department who sent it out for a independent review. And that actually initiated 2 changes in this plan. And I'll just show them to you on this drawing. I know it's not a perfect thing, but basically what was happening is we needed to validate that all of our turning radiuses work for fire trucks, which makes sense. And we do have that. So, but we didn't have it on a drawing to show them. So what we do with that is we take a drawing and we actually draw a truck in and draw the radiuses so that they can see that. So we'll be providing them with that. We just received that letter today. The other thing that was questioned is this building at the very back, the length of the parking lot was 100 and around, it cannot be any longer than 150 feet for a dead end actual parking lot for a fire truck to get into. So because of that, we reduced this building from a 16-unit building, we cut it in half to an 8-unit building so that the parking lot length was not too long. Anything else that was affected this? The big deal was the turning radiuses, which we have to provide a drawing to show that. And the double entrance that we have here, the county standard for those entrances, when you do a double one, this road can be 16 feet wide, and he wanted that 20. So we're making that change. But in general, the site itself remains pretty close to the way that it's presented. You would notice that difference in the drawings, and we will provide a drawing of the turning radiuses so that that can be validated, which makes sense. It's understandable that he wants to make sure the trucks can turn into all the parking lots, so.
John Barber did this review while he was on vacation in San Diego.
So the storage units are still separate from everything?
They are,
Okay.
and that is zoned commercial.
Right.
Separately.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes.
That's one question that I had last month when we had, because there is a special use that we did approve associated with the mini storage, with the storage units there, and it was tied on to the previous site plan, which I believe we're gonna have to rescind, because that's not what is being asked of us anymore, because you are abandoning or giving up. I don't know what word you wanna use.
Well, my
To
belief
say
is
that.
that no matter what, that special use holds. I mean, it just, I mean, maybe I'm incorrect, but I changed this, special use was changed for mini storage. So it wouldn't go away whether I sold it to somebody else to build a mini storage or whatever. It's still a special use for that piece of property, which
That-
would go hand in hand with the land.
Yeah, that is correct. The motion on the record is move to approve the special exception for the mini storage with approval of the site plan, and this section is to be split off from the current parcel supported by Hoffman. That was approved back in February 28th, 2023.
So it's separated.
Well, that was a condition,
That was the condition.
that it needed to be split, and then there was the site plan that needed to be approved, and then we approved the other site plan.
Correct.
So, I have a question, it's not directly to this, but it's in a minute, what do we need to do in regards to that? Because there is a special use for this.
I mean, the site plan for the mini storage hasn't changed, but I don't know. I mean, my understanding is that once the special use was put in, it could store that. You could be using mini storage, I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Right, but we're not, you're not doing the old site plan that was approved.
Correct.
Right.
If this one gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, then we'll keep the other one in place.
I don't know how you can do that.
It would be that you said, okay, we'll approve with the dissolving of the original site plan. It'd be part of the motion, I guess.
We would have to
Dissolve one.
resolve one, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what Brad is asking.
That's what,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm asking, because what date is this? February 2023? Yeah, because technically under the ordinance is it 12 or 18 months with no action or building permits being issued. Has there been a building permit issued on the previous site plan?
No, can't.
So as a result, then it's, yeah, so there's,
Still trying to get all of his permit, he can't, there's no.
right, so then there's a question even with, the validity of the other site plan approval, because more than 12 months has passed.
Well, he's kept his engineer going to get, sewer there.
Yeah.
So I would say it was continued.
Right, so.
I guess I'd like to know too, specify what is the time length, because I thought it was 2 years. Because 12 months isn't even enough.
And that's why I say it's 12 or
to get
18.
a building permit, even going forward,
I know
from
this
this
has come
point,
up.
if this gets approved,
Yeah,
12 months is from when you guys approve it, to when all the engineering gets done and all the permits it can be 12 months.
right.
Before
This
they
is,
can put a shovel in the ground.
right, this has been a topic before.
With many people.
Yep, 177. Site plans.
We always say after 1 year, you come back or show progress.
Yeah.
Or-
Either,
Right, or Neil tells us that a building permit has been issued.
or a permit from the county road commission.
I can pretty much guarantee there will not be a building permit issued in 1 year. I mean, it'll be 9 months, what do you say, I mean, you're the expert.
The process is crazy.
I mean, 9 months to a year, I mean, I
It is
went
1
in
year.
Chesterfield, right now we're at 28 months.
So if the clerk wants to put this in the record, it's ordinance 20.1307, time limitation, site plan approval. Approval of a site plan shall be void unless a building permit, if applicable, has been obtained or on-site development has commenced within a 1-year period of approval, unless this time period is extended for cause by the planning commission upon written application being filed with the township.
So would that be now to ask for it, or
Well, that's what I'm
11 months and 30, I mean, when you approve it now, say, hey, you've got 24 months, or you've got 12 months after, I mean, ongoing work, does that mean engineering, does it mean sewers? Because basically, it takes 9 months to a year to get this approved, at least. Then it's gonna be another at least 3-4 months to get the underground done. It matters if you're in January, you know, you got, you
Well,
get
when
driveways
you
in,
do
your
underground,
permits.
that's a permit, right? When you do underground, it's a permit,
So
we have
you're-
just been told.
Okay, there's a
You
building
started,
permit.
you started at that point.
If applicable.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
'Cause-
could be a permit from the road commission.
Because once you have a permit, we can just give
Oh, 'cause
extensions.
I got a permit from the, I don't have a permit from the, soil erosion. I had to get that as part, and I got a permit, I think, from the road commission.
When
And
were
I gotta put a
they,
bond up for them.
when were they issued?
I don't know, I'd have to go. Can't believe it's been
Months.
2
Yeah,
years now.
so I guess it's a clarity question for the applicant, being what are you requesting? Are you asking the abandonment of the previous site plan, going forward with this site plan? Are you not doing this site plan, or you wanna go
My
back?
idea that once, part of the approval of this would be dissolve the other site plan.
Okay,
So,
Because we can't go forward with 2 of them. We need to know what you wanna, what site plan you want.
This one.
right, this one approved
Uh-huh.
and dissolve the, upon approval of this, dissolve the other
Okay.
one.
Okay.
And I think Mr. Barber needs to be reminded or informed about the special exception that was
Yeah.
approved back in February regarding this, of this site plan.
So what would be the remedy? You'd have to have another one, or it was,
Two separate parcels.
Yeah,
no, it's one parcel.
No, it's one parcel, that's why.
because he was supposed to split it.
Mhm.
That's why, it's because it's under one parcel.
Yep.
So what is the remedy? You'd have to be reapplied for special assessment, or would it just,
No, I wouldn't wanna charge it, but you didn't have to pay for it.
Okay,
That's just my comment.
I get it.
I would just soon see it moved and not, because he's done everything he could. And, just let it go with where it's at now, correct? Is that,
I'll get a letter from legal.
okay?
And I think the Tetra Tech letter needs to address, we did the special assessment with conditions, so it is noted in there.
Because he can go forward with, because he does have a permit from, and once he gets the underground permit, I mean,
Another year.
but then he can come in and ask you, and, he doesn't necessarily have to come back to us, does he? Okay,
It says a letter.
yeah,
Right, yeah.
and as long as you know what's happening,
does the board have leeway to give like a 24-month, or?
well, it's not written that way, but
We've
I've
done
never-
12 months.
we've stuck with 12 months, yeah.
And then if you send in a letter, it states in there, send in a letter that you want to extend it. They have,
As long as you're still moving forward. It's when everything shuts down and everybody goes away, takes their equipment, that's what looks bad. But I can't imagine you doing that. You've been trying to get this, you've been pushing and pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, now,
No, on behalf of the applicant, I don't wanna rescind a site plan and then screw up your special exception. I don't think that's what, I
No.
wouldn't wanna put you in that position, but I wanna do it correctly, being, you have a special exception, it needs to be tied to a site plan, and what do we need to do in order to,
a revised site plan.
A revised.
right, but are we even using the same name?
Yes, SSK,
No, cause we have this now as Folsky.
it's always been SSK.
Well, it does say.
We have Folsky now, as, under the,
Doesn't it
for
have
this.
both the name on, both names on there? The fire one does not.
No, and neither does the Tetra Tech.
Did you sign, the special exception? Do you know that, Michelle, that you had him sign that special exception?
Yeah.
What's the copy that I had was signed, but that doesn't mean it wasn't.
Right. Is this all gonna be wrapped up in 30 days? That we can approve this?
That'd be a John question.
What parts need to be wrapped up in 30 days?
Well, we'll need the final letter from Mr. Barber, we'll need the final letter from the fire department review. We'll need clarity in regards to the special exception, and then also direction on if you're wanting us to rescind the previous site plan. And then tying if we can tie the special exception approved in February to this new site plan.
Yeah,
You think in 30 days?
for sure.
So, is there anything that you're needing to be approved tonight in order to move forward in the next 30 days? Or can you continue to go on with what you're needing to do?
I believe we're at a standstill now, is that,
Is it
Oh,
the sewer
okay.
that's?
Because of the
We need the
sewer?
Sewer that's holding him up?
We're working on that.
Okay.
because once we have site plan approval, then engineering can go, everything except the sewer. Because that'll be tied either, like I said, it's either gonna have to go out the Allen Road, or it'll have to go out to Lapeer, if Allen Road gets shut down. And really, I think it hinges on the school, is how I see it.
Gotcha.
The school's in favor.
If the school says yes, then we've got plenty of footage
So are you waiting for, you gotta wait for a school board meeting for that?
No,
I believe we have to wait for the actual petition to be drawn up
right.
by your legal counsel, and then have it circulated. And I don't know all the steps, if you gotta give them time for the community to know about it, or I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, because that'd be a 30,
There's months in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
process,
30
many
days.
months.
Yeah, I mean, if
Right.
the school doesn't get on board, so we're holding up this whole project because the school, that's not fair to him. He's invested in our community.
The school's been waiting, 5 years they've been waiting.
So they got money in the bank ready to pay. They're ready to
Actually, I don't think the school cares, they just want sewer.
They want sewer.
They want sewer.
Okay.
In the township, if we get a pre-preliminary, that would put our township board to say,
On notice.
hey, we're.
He has leverage because he has access to sewer whether
Yeah.
this goes forward or not.
Yes.
The question then becomes in regards to the set of plans that we approve, being, are those drawings going to show the access at the manhole? Or are the drawing, or are we gonna need to approve a set of plans with the sewer on the road? That's how I view it. He has options.
Right.
I don't believe the site plan that you'd be approving would change in any way if it goes either way, because the buildings and the parking lots and all that wouldn't be moved at all. Basically, the line that runs would just be tilted, one way or the other. So the site plan itself wouldn't change any.
Is your engineer then gonna provide us a plan no matter what that's gonna show sewer easements or sewer access both on the south side of your parcel and then also on the
No.
east? Okay. That means it's gonna be different.
Well, is that the site plan approval, or?
But are you gonna, but it will show access points on your layout. Are you gonna show the easement to the sewer on the south side of your parcel and sewer on the east side of your parcel? Or what?
Which one are you gonna,
What does this one
I-
show?
From what you see there, nothing's gonna change. The actual engineering would change.
I'm not trying to be, I don't wanna be difficult with you, but right now it shows on your site plan, right here, the water main easement. Where is your sewer easement right now on this site plan?
It might be on a different
sanitary
sheet.
sewer outlets way over here?
Is it showing it's over here on the road?
We don't need a sewer easement on this plan.
Okay,
So-
so if this doesn't go through, isn't your sewer going to be on the south side of your parcel
Correct.
somewhere?
There's actually an easement there right now.
Yeah.
But there would be, there's actually an easement in this corner,
Yeah, right.
the very back.
And so you're not noting it?
No, it's on there, it's on print.
Road, construction,
See the easements identified there at the
Yeah,
bottom
egress
left?
easement.
here's road, under utility,
Yes,
you're considering that sewer? Okay.
yes. So there's the possibility of going that direction.
Okay.
I mean, we've done layouts for multiple different things, right? So, and the last thing to get all of the developments together, and I think this is great with getting Atkins Meadows on board and everybody contributing and getting it in Allen Road. It's a good thing for the township. So we're hoping that continues that way.
Okay.
But I think what Jay is trying to say is, the basic site plan concept is not, and layout is not gonna change. Our buildings will still be the same. Maybe we'll route the sewer different if that's what happens to take place, but that's kind of an engineering item that would get approved through Tetra Tech ultimately, and Eagle, actually. But from a site planning, perspective, we don't see that changing any layouts.
Okay.
The things that you always worry about on a planning commission for sure is what's gonna change the layout? Like, was the detention basin properly sized? Do we have all that? So, but yeah, we don't see this layout changing.
And I agree with you now, feeling comfortable that you're indicating both scenarios on what's being submitted to us.
Yes.
I need to push the township board to hire our engineer to do engineering down Allen Road. And they're not gonna do that, I feel, unless they get
They want-
preliminary finals on these site plans kick the can down the road. This,
I can't see us approving both of them, personally. I think we have to stick with one that he wants,
oh, yeah.
so that you have,
Both of these,
yeah, this one here that we're
yeah.
working with now. It just doesn't feel comfortable to me to do that.
Or he's not asking to.
Well, he's not sure which one he wanted to go with, correct?
So I think that he wants to go with this plan that we're
This plan.
presenting you tonight. He doesn't want to lose his special exemption, if that's is that correct?
That, yeah,
and-
yeah.
He wants to just make sure that that's still okay, because that mini storage layout really didn't change. It's the same, kind of didn't even play with that section of the plan, so.
And even altering the sewer makes a huge difference, even in my, the cost and inflation of this.
I don't think any of us is thinking about not renewing the special exception, right? And that's not even in our thoughts, we just need to have something to tie that special
It's a site,
exception to.
yeah, a site plan.
And so I don't think losing that special exception is really in our, decision-making, it's just we have to have something to tie that to.
And this is the one he's gonna go with. He's gonna stick with this one, so.
We'd like it tied to this
To
site
this
plan.
one.
To this one, but that's not what the motion is on the tape. That's not what the approved motion was. We approved it with the other site plan.
Correct.
So we'd have to rescind one to put it with this one,
With the revision,
with the revisions.
and I'll get that writing one way or the other.
You gonna strong arm?
No, I'm seeing him Thursday.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, my thought is we should approve it with the guarantees, or, can't come up with the word. As long as they fix all the stuff that Tetra Tech wants them to change,
In the other letter.
and the fire.
So how do you want it to,
I'm just telling you what I.
no,
I'm not-
I
I'm
need
not
that.
saying-
I wanna,
That way the township board would know that it's getting close to either get engineering started for the sewer. If you guys aren't
Site plan
gonna
approval.
approve it, then they're gonna say, well, they're not approved yet. Well,
that's, I'm not worried.
to get,
Yeah, school board is. I wanna see the special exception stay with this, but I don't know how to go about.
Well, can't we rescind the special exception right now? And then, from the old,
I'll get it in writing.
I get, yeah, I referred to Neil or the clerk's office. How are we referencing these site plans? I see, and it goes back to, I see in the previous time it was SSK ground development. I see that we're using the term Folsky for the new one, but then the plans submitted to us as SSK ground development. So how are we gonna distinguish between old and new?
It'd all be SSK ground development.
Okay, so how would the township like to distinguish the old versus the new?
It's still the exact same.
I understand, but they have a file of the old stuff, and now we're doing the new stuff.
Just give them a bigger vanilla one. And open up.
So, okay, so what's distinguishing the two files?
Can we move to delete the old file and just,
I would
Put
say
a
that
number
you're-
on it.
No.
No,
So, what's the old file?
It's SSK.
And then what's your new file?
SSK, correct.
Oh.
Number two.
condition two. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How's that?
Put
I don't
number
know.
1 in purgatory and move forward with the second one.
We say this all like nice and jokingly, but then we read minutes from
I
like
know it.
1990, and then we're like, what are they talking about?
Revise.
Yeah, it would be, it would be revision.
The second one.
And see, I even put most of, I didn't pick it up my file.
Because I wanna see this thing keep going. I don't wanna
I
stop.
wanna see it start to work, that's what I want. I wanna see Jay smiling more, not stressed.
I didn't know if you're using the year or anything, like, can we say 23 and then,
Everything is, actually, that would be a good,
this is 2023? Okay, we'll do it that way.
yeah, 2025.
But you're just trying to get everything to SSK.
That's what
That's what
you're
he-
right, I'm
that's-
gonna take the Volsky out,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to distinguish between the new, the old and the new. Okay,
I couldn't believe they said 23. I'm like,
yeah,
It's been a while.
yeah, it has been.
So moving on, this would be SSK Ground Revised number 2, 2025.
And-
Ground development 2025.
And you're gonna get the letter?
I'm gonna be there Thursday.
Okay.
So what do we want on the record?
Say what you stated. SSK. ground
No, no, I know that, but I mean action items. Are you wanting action items on the record?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you say it in the mics, I will.
Yeah, I just, okay.
So would it be approval pending Tetra Tech letter,
Yep.
the special assessment letter, and approval by the fire or fire department, actually. I think it says in the fire department has final say.
Right.
Yeah, I
But
think
you-
a final letter. and
But you
final
basically
letter,
did everything for the fire
final
department.
letter for fire.
Yeah.
We just need the letter.
You just gotta
You just
draw up
technic- yeah.
just drawn up a print, another page, right?
Yes.
Drawn up the print, the page.
Yeah, we just have to
So
give it
you-
to them,
you
right?
sat-
Give it
You
to 'em.
satisfied?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Fire.
He just got it on Monday, so, and then part of the letter today, or yesterday,
The fire letter was today.
today. I got it yesterday, he got it today.
and then, Mr. Bonnie, do you have a date on this site plan? Or do you have a date for what you just submitted? Did you date it new? I know, I
The
can't read
revision
this.
One of the revisions was done today.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just do that next month on the final one. Yeah, okay,
We said
well,
4/21/25.
yeah, but, okay, and then we'll get another one dated what? Did-
I don't know. I wanna
Okay,
submit it to them, make sure they're satisfied, and then as long as everything's good.
okay,
That would be the,
so, no, I'm good.
Is that okay with you, sir?
I believe so.
Yeah, so,
that'd be great.
do we really need preliminary, or just make the motion that we want it next month and with
I think
X,
just
Y,
make-
and Z? What?
Can we get a pre-preliminary and final?
That was my question, being preliminary, is that necessary? If so, we can do that, or we can just postpone with scheduling the final next month with X, Y, and Z. You tell me.
If you have a preliminary,
I think it'd be nice to have the
Approval.
preliminary, if we
yeah,
could.
let's just do
Okay.
that.
That's fine. Then I'll move for preliminary approval site plan in regards referencing SSK Ground Development 2025. With the following conditions, being schedule final approval at the May 27th Planning Commission meeting, with the understanding that a final letter from Tetra Tech will be received, a final letter from, what's this company's name?
Fire safety
Fire
consultants.
safety consultant will be received. An action item to rescind SSK Ground Development 2023 site plan and add the special exception continuation with the 2025 site plan.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Okay. Barrett,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Orr,
Yes.
Wilpers,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you,
welcome.
Mr. Lane.
Thanks for
I
listening.
wanna see some diesel smoke coming out of the machines.
Me too.
Okay, buddy.
Go home, go home.
Okay.
Thank you.
Close special hearing. Close special hearing for master plan, we didn't.
No, we were gonna move to place on the May 27th Kimball Township Planning Commission a resolution to recommend adoption of a proposed 2025 master plan for the community, and then also request formal communication from the Drain Commissioner's Office and Jowet's regarding their future land use parcel change.
Old business.
Nope, that was my motion.
Oh, I have a motion, sorry. For
I
that.
second it.
I have a motion to continue with master plan hearing for May? May? No.
Yeah, May 27th, the
May 27th.
resolution.
Can I have, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Now, old business. Church special exception.
I opened up this can of worms.
Yeah, you open up a can of worms.
Yep, it's number 7, page 49.
Yes.
Yes, and I gave you, I have a list, I looked up every single church in our township.
Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that can of worms.
But I'm just letting you know that out of all the churches, only the 2 that you see there are the ones that happen, so.
Yep. I'm, right. My only comment is, we required those 2 because those were 2 new churches. When Sparlingville Elementary was, sold and they came, Blue Water Baptist came in, they came with a special use. And when it was the old Wesleyan Church, it was empty for a very, very long time period, and then that individual bought it, and we made her come in with a special exception for that church. And I know that we did not do that when, when Kimball Township was,
They bought the building before they even come into town.
so. And I know now that there is that new, it got sold again, so that is why I opened up this can of worms, and I don't foresee them being denied, but I think it should be on the record that they need a special exception, and we look forward to seeing them.
Can I make a statement about that
Yeah.
facility too? So one of the key factors of why the River Church had to close is because they didn't do their homework and root out sex offenders within the church. I've heard multiple rumors based off the members of the church that there's currently a sex offender in that church. So, I mean, we should move to encourage the church, hey, do your research so we don't go through this whole hassle of having you get this church going and then you fail just like the River did. We don't wanna have our time wasted because they don't do their homework on their membership. I joined the Masons Lodge. I had to get a background check. I mean,
They had the church on Barth Road, that little white chapel.
And they,
He fell off of a ladder and died, that pastor. They scrounged their money together to buy the River Church.
so there's a member that goes to that church, his name is,
I don't know.
Matthew Patton.
No,
it's just
And
a planning and zoning issue.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's a change of use.
I understand.
I'm just speaking, and I think we messed up in regards to when it initially was sold. It got sold again per the zoning map.
Can we waive fees?
That's a township board issue. So, but.
What
with the-
church is this? The
He's
one on
talking
the
about the
hill?
old Kimball School.
Kimball School.
Oh, Kimball, oh my gosh, really?
They spent, they did come in here, and they were very nice, had no idea about what they were getting into with,
Cause I believe it's zoned agriculture,
It is.
and yeah, they need it, they're special use for church.
And the one they're leaving didn't have a special.
Nope, and that is correct.
And the one on Allen Road, the old little white steeple church.
We gave him a special.
The old Wesleyan church, we made,
Where's Weston?
the Wesleyan church on Allen Road,
On
she
Allen?
came in,
On the old
the
school?
other side.
No.
Oh, the other way.
both of them.
Between Griswold and the tracks.
Yeah, Sparlingville came in first, and then I remember it
Yeah.
was a couple that came in, they had bought the old Wesleyan church on the north side, and they came in for special use also.
Okay.
Sparlingville,
Cause I
Wesleyan.
questioned it, because there was no activity, and, they were in the process of getting all their ducks in a row.
Yes. It was yeah, it was a married couple,
My neighbors, great people.
so, that is my I brought it up, I'll own it, but they need a special use.
Frank, can this board, ask the trustee board to waive the fee?
We have, I don't know if they listen to us, but we have.
But, I mean, put it in the minutes to waive it, so.
So, I don't know what the total cost is, I think our motion, and
$400.
right, I think our motion, and Mr. Orr, correct me, we've asked them to waive the fee up to actual cost.
Yes.
Like, I remember previous clerks did not want to waive, like, the newspaper cost, because that's, so, do we know what is the name that we should use in a proposed motion to reference? This property owner or parcel or?
New beginnings?
New beginnings, apostolic,
Apple, or,
Apostolic.
something church.
Do they have a minister, correct?
Yeah.
Make sure you send it to him.
so. I'll move to request that, I'm just gonna say, the New Beginnings Church located at the building formerly known as Kimball Elementary, have special exception, fees waived up to actual cost, and request, their presence before planning commission.
That's fair.
I don't know, that's just,
Yes. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
and I guess, fair, in
The
all
only reason
fairness,
I think
we
should
also
do
made
that
the
is
monks
if
come.
If we make other people give special exceptions.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, that's,
We shouldn't make an exception. Not that I don't think they should have a church, but.
okay.
Well,
So
for clarity,
they're
that's
talking
a,
about that itty bitty little dinky church on Barth Road, bought the whole school.
They did.
Yeah,
yeah,
You gotta be kidding.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
well, and the pastor's they're coming from Troy,
Oh.
so they're
Where
starting,
in the
they're
world
trying
did
to
they
start
get that money?
here.
They probably stole it.
What was this
That
part?
is also
Christians.
the
You know.
place for the,
Oh,
do our elections.
I understand.
The church that I go to, let them use all their tables at one time. They'd come and pick them up on a Sunday and take them
So-
up there. So. Okay, audience participation. Nothing?
Your church is getting a new floor.
Well, maybe.
Thought it was getting done.
Haven't seen anybody there yet.
Well, can we, now that we're talking about churches, is there an update in regards to Sparlingville? Is it Sparlingville Baptist? No, the one with the site plan, like,
Yeah.
is that right, Sparlingville
It's
Baptist?
Spartanville Baptist.
All right, yeah, how's that going? Or,
A ton of bricks.
okay, we'll leave it at that then.
Well,
Going on 3 years.
they've been doing work over there. They had a bunch
Yeah,
of,
they put in
bunch
a
of.
pond, they get
But they
rid
have a new
of
preacher.
those,
Or got a new
stormwater.
preacher.
They got the sewer connected,
He was a good
the
player.
well, or the hydrant,
Oh,
got a bore underneath Griswold Road, there's $100,000 right there.
oh my
Oh.
goodness gracious.
so are we going to see a 12-month extension request from them?
I'll ask for it,
Or is there a permit already?
there's no permit,
Oh, okay.
but they did get a permit for just just lately for the sewer tap. So that
Oh,
would
for the
count.
building,
That would
okay.
count.
That would count, yeah. So the sewer must be on that side of the road then?
The sewer tap, it's on their side.
Got it.
Why do they have to have a hydrant to start with? They used to put hoses across the road when they had a fire.
That is correct.
Huh?
That is correct.
What's wrong with that now?
Was,
Because they collect, who's collecting $100,000 for the fire hydrant?
well, they had to bore underneath the
The
Griswold
road.
Road.
Right.
Right, and it was, in the fire,
Yeah.
fire report that they extend a hydrant on that side of the road.
Isn't that an overkill, don't you think?
I am not the, just believe that, it's in the code, if it's within, if 400 feet of the building, they have to put it in. And it was over 400 feet.
Wow.
I'll just ask one more and then I'll be done for the night, cause I got gas at Pilot and I saw that fancy GM, but it's still not, what is that over there?
The pilot?
Yeah, and it says the GM banner on there, but you still can't use it, but so, is that a modification, and if, on their site plan, and if so, what is that electric, what is?
Vehicles.
Okay,
They put in 4
okay, just, I'll take it.
stations.
But, okay, but they still have cones on, so I'm assuming they don't work.
Detroit had this in the 6 months out.
Okay.
See,
That was months ago.
yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Sullivan's all cleaned up,
Beautiful.
looks great, but the, silage going down the road.
Did it go down Sunday morning? Easter morning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been hauling, but it looks great, it really does. And it's Mr.,
Steve Hyde owns it.
yeah, Mr. Rigarello, did he get his double wide in or whatever you see?
No, he's got a driveway in.
Okay,
He's got close to getting a building permit.
Looks like he's got a stuck, well rig in his, at the end of the driveway. Oh, yeah, it looks pretty
Stuck.
low. Looks
In the
real,
driveway?
yeah, behind the driveway.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
that's about all I have. Anybody, I got nothing from ZBA, we didn't have a meeting.
What's happening?
That township,
What
Mr.
township?
Older.
I went to the county commissioner meeting last week, and Robert Felix tried to motion to get the board to have the administrator look for other companies to run the methane facility. Joy Torello voted yes, Robert voted yes, and all other commissioners voted no. Why? CTI failed. He let the facility run into the ground. So apparently there's, for me, I mean, looking at it outside or looking in, what are you trying to hide? Get a second opinion. If my doctor botches my surgery, I'm gonna go get a second opinion. So, it's interesting. The landfill's a big mess.
Anything else to come before the board? If none, can I have a motion?
Move to adjourn at 7:47.
We're done.
Mr.
Hey
Foreman.
Brad, if it's GM, those things will probably be sitting there for a while longer.
I just know, well, I just see,
They can't seem
the
to get their
banner
cars
says
to run
GM,
right.
I think it says GM Energy on, yeah, that's what I see, and I see that they're